Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with the qualifying round win here for the Open 2021 tournament. And make sure to subscribe to the channel, also hit the thumbs up button and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guide for Expert and Master Division qualifying round for free by just being, any type of member anywhere, because we're gonna post it in all types of Golf Clash communities out there, and we do that to help out the community even more for free and give you a taste of what Ultimate Tournament Guides is all about. If you want to make sure that you won't miss the Ultimate Tournament Guide for the Game Set Go tournament, which starts on Monday, the 19th of July, then you subscribe to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You do have the link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we're going to start by using a power 4 ball, and this time also a side spin 2. So I'm using, in this case, as you can notice on the top spin there, 6 bars of top spin, and I'm gonna end up to go with only 1 bar of side spin to the right. So in the end though, you can play with a side spin 1 ball and power 4, which we do have plenty of. Wind resistance 4 or 5 is what we're looking for to use. Max plus 10. And then after that we shall then push up to max. This is a drive where we do push the ball hard. Like, we do want to gain enough distance to get to around 408 yards or better. If we don't get that, there is a risk of going in between clubs, and then it would be, if so, good to have the sniper packed as the wood club option. Great right is still going to be fine. A great left and a perfect will also be fine. The only thing that we could be alarmed about, so to speak, is that if you do hit a great left, there is a risk for a glitch roll, and that glitch roll could, if you are very unlucky, roll you just barely into the rough. So with that in mind, it could be good to have the Amazon in your bag, to have all the backspin possible there, to just land yourself on green if you are ending up being very unlucky. That's gonna be the least uncommon thing to happen, but I wanted to mention that at least, so we do have that in mind. Second shot, this is what I wanted to push for. I want to play with the B52 to make sure that we limit the amount of times that we're going to play with our sniper. But 1 bar of backspin here is what we're going to use, and you can see here that the ball is going to be having the not the ball, but the ball guideline is going to be halfway into the fringe with the second bounce, and then obviously the tip of it just through the hole. Adjustment from +8 is going to be 85% slider with a 5% over adjustment power 4 ball settings. Once you have done that, you will have to apply overpower. The overpower needs to be applied to compensate for you dropping down to a lower point. So instead of having to push up a ring or two, we use the overpower to make sure that we're not going to have to stress with a push-up, and a push-up is very easy to do not straight, and that's going to be a problem. So we use the overpower, we hit the rough, and we drop the ball dead center for an eagle. For those of you that aren't interested in pushing the drive, that may just want to take a little safer way, but with then a lesser chance for a drop, then let's take a look at what we can do with a sniper play. Hole number 1, the sniper option. We're gonna start a little bit more to the right than what we do with the B52 play. Half of the 4th ring inside the rough to the left with Apocalypse level 8. A little bit more of the 4th ring into the rough to the left with Apoc 7, Apoc 5 and Apoc 6. We do have blue ring to the left by the rough line. 6 top spin, 3 left spin, and we adjust for max plus 10. Once we have adjusted max plus 10, we shall not push up to max in any way. We shall just let it be where it is, and then center the ball and try to hit perfect. Now we're looking to get the ball to somewhere between 390 and 400 yards, and our main focus here now is not on the yardage, it's on the plus yardage that we will have when it's our turn for the second shot. Now it is important that you have packed the B52. It doesn't matter if it is a level 5, 6, 7, 8. Only important part is that it does have the 140 yards of power. So pay close attention to the plus yardage of the B52 now. You can see that that is +2. That you note down, because that number is what then relates to a slider percentage for the second shot. This to give us a way of being able to dial this shot in. 3.8 backspin, 1.5 bar side spin to the right, bullseye to be just by the edge of the rough with the ball guideline through the hole. The reason we're aimed so close to the rough, it's because we are going to fall down into the bunker, so we aim this high up to compensate for the loss of distance that we're getting by adjusting down there. So for hole number one, we'll play hole number one. From +2 yard mark, we shall in that case play 14% slider, -10% elevation, is what we shall be playing. Unfortunately, I do under adjust this one just slightly. So the 14% is an estimation based on this miss here that we are going to use. As always, when playing sniper in Master, it is tough to hit perfect, at least it is for me. But this is a very safe way, and it also doesn't require any special ball. We can play with a free-to-play ball like Kingslayer or Centurion, or for that matter, Kingmaker as well, if you wanted to go that way. But if you hit perfect, the second shot will be very close, or it's going to drop for you for an eagle. Hole number 2, a par 3, we have direct headwind, or at least almost. We play with a rock and we're gonna go for a rough bump, 2.6 bars of topspin and 3 bars of side spin to the right. Now we're gonna look for two things. The inner ring, you will want to have half of the inner ring outside onto the fairway, and then the ball guideline go to the left of the pin. Look to where I zoom in, you can see that the ball guideline going 1/3 into the fringe at the back, the tip of it will be said. Max, no elevation, power 1 ball. To make it even easier, it's 1-1. So if you have 7.6 miles per hour, then you play 7.6 rings. Center the ball, try to hit perfect, and this ball is either gonna be very close or it's gonna be in the hole. A great left is going to be fine if you pull straight. If you pull with a 1201 accidentally or not accidentally, then you will be missing the rough with a great left. So make sure that your pull is 12, nothing else. Hole number 2 offers a good chance to a drop. For hole number 3, we are going to play with a luminary ball, which is a power 5 side spin 2 wind resistance 3. And have in mind here that when it comes to the luminary ball, this is a free to play ball which you win for free when you get to the weekend round in Master, and that's something that is very good to have in mind. We go with 6 bars of top spin, 2 bars of left spin, and we start at the +28 yard mark with the right ring to the left by the rough line. That is with Apocalypse level 8 and with a little bit of the white ring inside the rough with Apocalypse level 7, and half of the white ring into the rough to the left with Apocalypse 5 and 6. Max overpower, max curl to the left and try to hit perfect. A great left and a great right will still be fine. However though, like a massive great left or a massive great right or a good shot is not going to be on the fairway, is what I estimated to at least. 405 yards, and that's fine. This leaves us to play with the B52 from a plus yardage point, which I do absolutely love. So I'm gonna do 1 backspin, 2 right spin, and here it is important that we let the ball guideline to go just through the hole, approximately half a green square through the hole, and we do have the top of the white ring by the sand trap line. We start at the, not start, but we be in +12 after we have set up our target, and the +12 is what we're gonna use as relate to a slider percentage. So +12 equals 80% slider, 35% elevation. Power 5 ball settings. Adjust all the rings because there's gonna be a lot of rings, and then hit perfect. Those of you playing with a Grizzly are going to have to add, if you play with a Grizzly level 9 from the +12 yard mark for an example, then we're gonna add 12% slider more. So for an example here, once again, Grizzly level 9 from +12 plays 92% slider and 35% elevation, where the B52 plays 80% slider, 35% elevation. Power 5 ball numbers, good chance on hole number 3. Hole number 4 is going to be a tough hole to actually give ourselves a look for the eagle, and I spent a lot of time in practice different type of layup shots for sniper, for B52, but I ended up to push to drive hard to get ourselves down to play with a short iron instead. We're gonna start at the plus 16 yard mark with the blue ring by the rough line to the left with Apocalypse level 8. Max topspin, no side spin whatsoever. Once you have done that and adjusted max plus 10, you push up to complete max, right? So to plus 31 with a power 5 ball. Max call to the right, try to hit perfect. Great left, great right, and perfect will have the same type of effect here, which is that we're going to have the second bounce into the rough to roll out onto the fairway. And once again, I need to be clear here now. I said max topspin, we're using 7 bars of topspin. So for those of you that maybe are wondering, will this shot work with an Apocalypse level 5 that only has 5.8 bars of topspin? It will. The only thing that it will risk though is that it may, in a worst case scenario, having the, you know, the third bounce, because then we're gonna have the second bounce just before the rough, and then to bounce over the rough onto the fairway. But it could be, in a worst case scenario, that the third bounce clips the rough, get a dead bounce, and just get stuck into the rough. So my recommendation there is to pack the Amazon to make sure that you do have the backspin on your rough iron, so you can actually attack the pin with backspin, or at least aim for the green for a safe birdie with the backspin if you don't want to go for it. So now, when we do have the thorn, we're going to look for a reference that's going to be by the rocks. We go just straight through the pin, having the bullseye just by the edge of the rock and the rough. That's plus 3. We remember that. Max backspin, half a bar side spin to the right. Very important here now that the ball guideline is going to be approximately half a green square through the hole. Very important, otherwise you risk falling short. Now, plus 3, we do remember, by the rock, 72% slider with a 15% elevation, power 5 ball numbers. In this video, I adjust 0.1 too much, or like I adjust 0.1 extra than what the slider percentage I just explained is. So, that's the reason why I then dropped this one, you know, on the left side of the cup instead of right at pin. So that's why 72% slider should be the correct number, power 5 ball settings, and plus 15% elevation. This is a tough par 4, ladies and gentlemen, so don't be sad if you miss the eagle. A lot of things needs to go right, but I'm very pleased with it, and also being able to play a free to play ball is never going to make me mad. Boring wind on hole number 5. This is going to be a par 5 where I do believe a lot of players is going to have a problem by getting an eagle, especially if you play with really low level clubs. But if you play with Apocalypse level 5 plus, you're going to have no problem in my opinion. Now, max top spin, 2 bars of side spin to the right, and we start with the 4th ring to the right by the rough line with Apocalypse level 8. Apocalypse level 7 has a little bit of the 4th ring into the rough, and Apocalypse 5 and 6 have half of the 4th thing into the rough to the right. Max topspin with all clubs, and then you may be thinking, Apocalypse 8 has more topspin than what an Apocalypse 5 and 6 is having. Wouldn't that be a problem? No, it won't. It's just that it will get you with a sniper shot further away from pin than we would be getting here with Apocalypse level 8 and sniper combo. So 408, now second shot is important here that you then take a look at where you are, and that is to where you then set up your target. When I'm playing this shot here now, I judge my setup here to be approximately 25% of my club, and that's going to be something that's going to be very important to look at. Like, look to where max is, look to where min is, 2 left spin, 1 bar of backspin. Ball guideline needs to be 1.5 green square through the hole, and being at 25% club, I adjust 1 to 1. And I judge the elevation to be 5% elevation here with power 5 ball setting. So this is going to be a very difficult shot to drop, because there is a bumpy fairway that we bounce at. We are a long way from home, and you know, a great right is never going to be helping. Bouncing on the fairway, and you know, a perfect ball would have been close. Speed is good, but again, hole number 5 gonna be a tough one to drop. We take it easy, we take the eagle with a small percentage chance for an albatross. Hole number 6, very tough par 3, and I'm gonna give you a chance for a hole-in-one. Start with any power 1 ball to find the blue ring to the right by the rough line in complete max. It doesn't show here on the replay, obviously, but again, start with any power 1 ball to find max. Once that is done, you change to a Kingslayer and use 4 left spin and 4.3 bars of backspin. Now, max plus 35 power 3 ball settings. First, I recommend to pull 4 rings, because the rock is covering a bunch of it. Then after that, you pull the rest. So, pull 4 rings, then you pull the rest. So, you know, just as an example, if you're going to pull 13 rings, you pull 4 rings, and then you pull the rest of the 13, which is 9 rings. Outside wall to the left, curl. Hit the rough. It's gonna roll towards the pin, and in this case we're getting a hole-in-one. Have in mind that this hole-in-one is a massive bonus. If you hit great right or great left, you will still clip the rough and roll out, and that's what was my main focus with this rough bump. So I'm not just going to give you a very I didn't want to give you just a very thin line for a rough bump. I wanted to give you way of being able to hit great left or a great right, and then obviously a decent chance for an hole-in-one with a perfect. But to be completely honest, you know, hole-in-ones will be rare here, so having an opportunity like we are having, it's really good. Also, as we are playing with such a big adjustment, we're playing so much downhill, make sure that your pull angle is not a massive 1159 or 1201 that will obviously otherwise have an outcome on the shot. For hole number 7, it's gonna be a very easy par 4 to get an eagle, and I would say this is an eagle that everyone will be getting. The only time you may not be getting this one if you make a very terrible drive. Apocalypse level 8, blue ring by the rough line to the right. Apocalypse 7, just a smidge into the rough, and then Apoc 5 and Apoc 6, half of the blue ring into the rough to the right. Max plus 10, we're using 4.5 per topspin and 3 left spin. Max overpower with a slow needle and max curl to the left. Bounce on the fairway, it will getting over to the other fairway and roll itself down towards the green area. From here it's going to be a very simple wedge, and that is something that you use all the topspin for, to roll the ball towards the pin. Again, super easy eagle on hole number 7. You know, kind of finally having a funny and easy win here for the Portela Cove. For hole number 8, we're going to play a no movement on this very tough par 3. We play 4.2 bars of backspin, which is 4 and 3 clicks of backspin. 1 bar of a side spin to the right. And what we're looking for here now is to have a wind between 9.5 and 10.5 miles per hour. So what I would recommend here to do is, if you have a low wind with a wind 4 ball, switch to a Kingmaker. I'm going to explain more about that in the end. Medium distance with a 5% over adjustment, power 1 ball settings here, and then try to hit perfect. This par 3 is famous for the fact of that if you are not spot on with your adjustment here, you will fall down to the left or right of the green, or behind the green, if so. So if you hit a great ball here, right or left, the ball will most likely not stay on green and will just barely be into the rough if you are unlucky. If you hit perfect, this shot is going to give you a very good chance for a hole-in-one, but it's going to be a tough one in general. The reason I want you to have a wind between 9.5 and 10.5 miles per hour is that with that type of wind, we adjust to the specific point up into the rough, because the more we adjust with this shot, the higher up we are going to get, because it's lower, then it becomes higher. in terms of the surface. So if we have a low wind, we will most likely miss to the right all the time. If we have the wind that is explained, then a perfect ball will be around the cup, like here in the video, or into the hole. That's the same if you have a too high wind, then we will miss to the left. So something that we need to have in mind here. So switch between a Centurion and Kingmaker, trying to get a wind between 9.5 and 10.5 miles per hour. If you can't replicate that, for an example, then use the wind 4 ball if you're getting like a 9.3, 9.4 wind instead. In the end though, decent chance on a very tough par 3 to get an hole in one. Hole number 9, and we're going to play with a power 5 ball. It's very important that you do play with a power 5 ball, as the second shot is going to require a lot of power. And this hole here, it's all about the drive, because here we're not going to play for an albatross at all. We're just going to play for the safest way of getting an eagle possible. And that we're going to do by playing with 5.8 topspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right, and we start at the plus 16 yard mark. Adjust max plus 10 power 5 ball settings, and then you need to apply a trick that I use with overpower here in this hole, that is that you should use 2 rings less overpower than what you adjust into. So for an example, if you are adjusting 3 rings into overpower, which will be the minimum amount you will adjust into overpower with a low wind here with a wind 3 ball, then you shall go with 1 ring of overpower. But let's say you adjust 5 rings into overpower in total, then you play 3 rings of overpower, just to make sure that we're not gonna go too long. The closer we are to the rough with the ball, the better it's going to be. Now, second shot, we play with the Cataclysm or the Big Dog, depending on what club that we do have with the best power and accuracy. So if you have the same power with Big Dog and Cataclysm, you look to what the accuracy is, and then you choose your club based on that. Bottom of the yellow ring to be by the rough line, 5 backspin, 2 right spin. Adjust max plus 10, and you can see that I'm nowhere close to aiming for the green. It's because the rough is higher up to the right than where we are aiming. So if we're going to be able to reach over the rough like that, then we need to aim more left. So we're using all the curl that we can, all the overpower we can to get the ball to the green or just by the green for a simple wedge and an eagle. This is a hole that is extremely boring to play, but be sure to be focused. Otherwise you will have a problem managing the eagle in the end, and that, my friends, is going to be a way of losing a shot towards your opponent. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division qualifying round, and please make sure to check out the Ultimate Tournament Guide for qualifying round Master, which is free for the whole community. That's the same for Expert. We're posting it free in the various community here for Golf Clash. It will be posted everywhere, so yeah, it will be tough to miss. In the end though, get ready to get Ultimate Tournament Guides for the Get Set Go tournament that starts on Monday, which will be the 19th of July. Then obviously you're gonna have to become a Patreon. Patreon.com/GolfClashTommy is also in the description down below. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck in your Golf Clash game.